Hello, and welcome to Bonhill Geography. Today we'll be looking at the topic of development. This is particularly for changing economic world, however it does have links into urban issues and challenges. We are more specifically going to look at the ways in which countries can grow and improve themselves in standard of living, quality of life and income. Now, as a reminder, development means enhancing the quality of life for people, both socially and economically. It's all about better healthcare, education, infrastructure, jobs and wealth. Let's just quickly break up those words. Healthcare obviously is relating to life expectancy. Education will be relating to the amount of access to tertiary and quaternary types of employment, rather than just primary and secondary. Infrastructure is our connection to essential services, whether this be electricity, water, gas, or even transport connections. Arguably, that now includes more access to things like Wi-Fi. Firstly, let's look at the different ways that we measure development. The first measure is GDP per capita. This measures the total value of all goods and services produced in a country, and it's divided by its population. This is the most common term used when describing a country's level of development, where we see LIC, NEE and HIC. So why is this important? A higher GDP per capita suggests a wealthier economy, where people might have better access to jobs and services. Note the word might there, we'll talk about that in a sec. Next up we have life expectancy. This is the average age a person is expected to live from birth. A longer life expectancy often means there's better healthcare, nutrition and living conditions, so people will be able to access more nutritious food and are less likely to be hurt by things like failing infrastructure, for example. Next up, we have literacy rate. This is the percentage of people over the age of 15 who can read and write within a country. If this portion is higher, then obviously the education system is better suited for the needs of its people. If the percentage is lower, it's indicated that lots of people are probably in poverty and not able to access the education system. This can be due to infrastructure challenges, but also could be as a result of corruption or unfairness within societies themselves, where people are forced away from education. Next we have access to electricity sources. Now this is the percentage of people with reliable electricity supply, and it directly correlates with how much investment the government has put into their own infrastructure. Remember, infrastructure is the connection to essential services like water, gas and electricity. It's also important to note that if the access to electricity is low, it is unlikely the country will be able to be in the secondary employment service sector, meaning that they can't have any industry taking place, or the industry that is there is probably low profit, and as a result a very low income country would have a low access to electricity. Next we have the percentage below the poverty line. Now this shows the portion of a country's population living below $2 per day. So this is really a useful tool as highlighting economic inequality. Some might argue this is more useful than GDP per capita. I told you we'd get back to it. Because the percentage below the poverty line directly correlates with the amount of people that are not rich within a country. Whereas GDP per capita does not show disparities in wealth. For example, we could have 50% of the country below the poverty line, but still with a high GDP per capita. Because the rest of the country, apart from the 50% on less than $2, could be earning thousands of pounds per month or even millionaires. So GDP per capita is not useful, and arguably percentage below the poverty line is a more useful indicator as a result. Okay, so next up we have infant mortality rate. Now this measures how many babies die before their first birthday per 1,000 live births. It's a pretty grim statistic, but actually this is really useful because it can indicate how good healthcare is, particularly for newborn care. Next we have access to clean drinking water. Now this is the percentage of people in a country who have safe drinking water. This is free from contamination and will not spread diseases like cholera. Again, this is a really useful statistic because it shows how much the government is investing or has available to invest into infrastructure. In some cases, of course, the government has the money available, but actually is corrupt. Okay, our last small indicator is people per doctor, and this is the one that people commonly get wrong. If there's a low amount of people per doctor, it indicates that the provision of healthcare within a country is more accessible. If there's a high amount of people per doctor, it means that the government is overstretched and cannot provide doctors for as many people that need it. For example, let's say in the UK there's one doctor per 60 people, whereas in, let's go to Bangladesh, there might only be one doctor per 300 people. It indicates that the UK would have a better healthcare system. Okay, so lastly, we come to the best indicator of them all. So even if this is the only thing you write down, make sure you do have it now. This is something called the Human Development Index. Now this is calculated using GDP per capita, life expectancy and literacy rate. So it takes all three of these factors and calculates a score from 0 to 1. The higher the number, the better the level of development. For example, Scandinavian countries for the most part have a HDI of over 0.9. Now this is considered to be the most reliable indicator as it measures multiple development indicators rather than just one. So we have a wider range of data to get our analysis. Thank you for watching Bonhill Geography. If you liked this video, please do consider giving it a like. I'll catch you in the next video. See you next time.